Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Kvadrat webinar conversation with Patricia Chiola. This is Marco Sammicheli speaking live from Milan, and I'm glad to introduce you to these wonderful design ladies. On top of me, as you may see on your screen, there's the designer and architect Patricia Chiola, Spanish lady based in Milano, a crucial figure in the design world, known for an incredible effort to change these transforming disciplines when touches furniture design, exhibition design, architecture, and everyday life. Next to me, there's Stine Find Osther, Vice President Design of Kvadrat. Together, we are gonna spend half an hour talking about quality, color, simplicity, and innovation. Because when it comes to Kvadrat, we need to mention these words. Kvadrat was established in Denmark in 1968, a crucial year where cultural and social innovation, art and design, and especially hope was very important for the global world. We are living a very original moment, and I think we need hope, we need happiness, we need comfort, and we know how design can drive our everyday life to these characteristics, which are just not relatable to furniture, but also to space, to life, to everything around us. So welcome once again. Patricia Chiola is a designer and an architect, and she's also had an incredible relation with Kvadrat company. For over 20 years, they've been collaborating in major installations, in projects, in collections, and textiles. And she's going to talk about this. But I would like to give the mic to Stine to also talk about how this company is working with designers and with new frontiers.
Thank you, Marco. And hi, everybody. Kvadrat wants to push boundaries of high-quality textiles through design, art, and innovation. We are always aiming for the best quality, both for performance and design, and we are constantly hunting the best possible solution for our products. And of course, ensuring the lowest footprint possible. Our aim is to never compromise on these parameters. And we are never designing alone, luckily. There is an excellent designer behind each of our products. We strongly believe in the collaboration. We believe that it is in between the dialogue that innovation can happen. And our external designers is coming from extremely different backgrounds. Some is textile geeks, knowing a lot about the loom, the material, and some don't know anything about textile. And this diversity is extremely important for us because each designer is helping us pushing the boundaries of what's possible inside textile. And we are not working with trend material in the normal understood way. We see our external designers as our trend material. They are coming to us with their unique view of the future. And this, together with the Kvadrat DNA, is the most important reason for us being able to develop contemporary and long-lasting products.
Stine, the list of designers that they've been collaborating with Kvadrat for the last decades is amazing. I mean, we can name all the Gotha, the Pantheon, the Roland Garros of the design figures in the world. But what you've been doing in the past 20 years with Patricia is special. Can you share what's your point of view and describe some elements or the genesis, how everything began with her baby in Milan?
Yeah, I can say that working with Patricia in her studio is always like a positive, creative explosion. Patricia is bringing an amazing and powerful energy, and you are living in the front end of our time, being involved in so many different projects and working with so many different materials in all different scales, from tiny design objects to big buildings. This is really bringing high value into the collaboration. And I would say that the way our projects often is starting is through dialogue. And Patricia is often sketching a future scenario, and then we are trying to unfold it in the material.
Please, Patricia, up to you. We want to hear the other part.
Well, I say you hello to everybody, and I think this conversation, I hope we can make understand. I think that what for me is the most important thing in my relation with Kvadrat, and is first I heard about Kvadrat when I was working before the 2000 already in the pub of a company. It was my first job, and I remember they were saying there is a company from the north that they do wool that in Italy was a complicated idea to use wool, but they do these fabrics. They were speaking about the Divina, which is a Divina fabric that was a fabric that was used first time, I think, in my country, I think by Moroso, no, Patrizia Moroso, that she needed some fabrics without direction in the texture. Then they began to be in relation with this incredible company. And I remember I was quite young, and my idea of fabrics, perhaps I was an architect beginning, being designer, I was not so interested about the argument. And I like a lot that this Divina got inside my blood before understanding totally what was the argument. Then bit by bit, working after 2000, working by my own and working with Patrizia Moroso, we got in relation with different persons that they are part of. All my friends from the company. And there was Anders Birel, obviously. There was even Nusha organizing always all the marketing things and thinking that there was all the different persons, not only technical, and they were my first friends, Riviti. Aldo Riviti was fundamental, the Italian person who was organizing everything for them. And we were always speaking about the fabrics they were doing and how much they were involved in doing fabrics that will help us in our work. In our performing work of design and architecture. That is something that I liked from the company, because I liked them strongly, because they were doing, they knew they were part of a process that fabrics were not only fantastic materials to add and to do. No, they were really involved in the design attitude, and happened that speaking with them, we got they asked me to interact in a Salone del Mobile with Giulio Ridolfo, that was a designer of fabrics for them, a good friend, to do with BMW, the Dueling Dub. It was an installation that we did even with a little help even from Floss, and we did that car with those cones over covering it, and with the idea of using I didn't want to use inside any kind of leather, and I was saying I want a fabric that was part of the conversation, and we created a fabric that was like the Divina, which is a kind of felted material, but it was a little bit lighter, and was Hero, a collection that then became a collection of wool, no, that we did, and was done in a kind of my Latin idea of skin color that was like a conversation too. Then we began to speak about colors in many different ways, and after that happened that we keep it having always relation as friends, seeing what they were doing, what they were doing with other designers. There was always a conversation much over my own work. It was not important. Then happened in the 2013 that they asked me to do first collection with a kind of all over decoration, and all over pattern involving a fabric. Then I was saying, oh, that's gonna be a bit complicated. Then I didn't know well how we could deal with it, and we began 3 different ways, and we did all the matrix and grid, which are fabrics that they were really with a digital pattern. That was my landscape in that moment, because it was the 2013. And at the same time, we began memory. That was a fabric with a kind of patina on it. Then for me, was like the idea of tempo, of time inside a fabric. And they were very experimental, both fabrics. I think they were even too much strong, like for some way, but they were really interesting from the idea of understanding how to deal in a to begin a nice conversation. And we began. That was we did an exhibition that was a revolving room, always a Kvadrat coming to visit me to do the fabric, always us going to Ebeltoft to see Kvadrat and understand the fantastic relation they have with nature and art that surrounds this little space or this fantastic side of Denmark, which is not only going to Copenhagen. Then I like it a lot. We began to understand and to feed each other in a very nice way. And then we did an exhibition in Salone. It was interesting. There was this revolving room with a big dinner. We ate all the textures we were doing with Berton, who did a dinner for us. And then I like it a lot. It was very interesting how much they let me perform on the research, on the material, on the colors, how much we were performing, even in the way we were introducing the material. And I think after that, there was a period that we began to have bit by bit other kind of relation. That so what can.
Thank you very much, Patricia. If I can pick up a few words of what you just shared with us, it's that with textile and with Kvadrat, you can design a performing landscape, because the performing part of certain textures, certain textile together, when they are included in a space, can change the perception of the view of the user, and when they give life to something that usually perceived as bidimensional. But here we are also to present the last creation that Patricia Urquiola Studio designed for Kvadrat, and we are referring to 3 specific new collection. Could you please talk about this, Patricia?
Well, now in this moment, we are introducing in one side 2 fabrics that the name are Relate and Reflect. And those are, I like them because they are twins. They are 2 different ways of doing a material with the same attitude. When you see them, they even you can not understand which one of them it is, but they are done and produced in a different way. That is, I think, is the interesting thing, I think, of this research. Our idea was to create a kind of upholstery. Is a fabric done for upholstery use, and should be when they asked me to do it, to be both for private use, but even for contract too. Then that was the beginning. The idea was to produce a fabric with big research about color, because I think in that moment, when you speak with a company like Kvadrat, each time the research is focused in an argument. In this case, we were thinking possibly is a fabric which is going to be with a woolen-like touch, or it's going to be with a soft hand, which is an argument which is always important in the values that we always try to find in any kind of fabric in Kvadrat. But they were asking me, how can we produce a Trevira GS material, which is a material which is perfect for proof, and that we as architects still need strongly in Europe, as example, for our work. At the same time, I was thinking, okay, if we do this, perhaps we can produce at the same time another one that is Reflect, which is the same, but I want that is done with a kind of 100% recycled polyester. And then, there is a lot of research in this moment, and like this is part of the many ways we have to do in this moment. But at the same time, to do it with a certain quality in the yarn is not so easy. Then Stine worked strongly on this argument. We took a lot of our energy. My idea was to keep the hand of the fabric more or less like a gabardine fabric, the one that we use for our dresses. Just gabardine is always with a kind of diagonal weave, and to create a kind of false or false fabric, unique fabric, but is done with a double layer of colors. The idea is of this monochromatic fabric, very simplified, but at the same time, you have always two colors to mix. Then, when we are speaking about this kind of tiny, really very delicately done, you begin with the problems, because when you begin to create the fabrics, how to get mixed, they come a lot of things that they are not so good. You wanted a better, a brighter green. No, there were a lot of conversations about colors. Then Stine and us, when we had the first pieces, she began to come to Europe, sending me pieces. I was doing selection. We were coming back to them. There was a lot of conversation about color. I like a lot the idea that in a very simplified material with just a diagonal element, the conversation about color is dense, is so dense. The research is very important to make understand that to other people, to the architects, the people which are part of our community, and how much we enjoy the choose, and trying always to avoid the flatness in the fabric, and trying to get with the material energy. No, at the same time, we began to work in another material that was Lumo. Lumo was a fabric done for curtains, and I always say that Kvadrat break my prejudices on working in curtains materials. And now that I work as architect doing hotels and other works, I need them, and I am always discussing about how to use in a better way the fabric for curtains. That few years ago for me was an argument saying, no, I don't know if perhaps that surface material to hang was complex. Then I think Kvadrat already in the 2013 began to work in curtains, and that made me think strongly about the argument. No, Lumo is another kind of research. We are not working in a material which is with this diagonal argument that was part of the real argument in the twins research we've done for Reflect and Relate. Lumo in which is a material very simplified, always. Each yarn is bicolored already. Then if there is a color, the blue is a bicolored blue. They call it a kind of hypermelange. And at the same time, the white color or the neutral color that we mix with is always bicolored too. That is the yarn, but at the same time, the curtain is bifaced. Then you have from one side, you always have a color which is we only have 10 colors of this curtain, and each one is very neutral color from one side, and from the other side of the curtain you get the color. Tendenциally, we only work in very natural dyed yarns, but with a very interesting new technique, which is dop dye yarn technique, which is using the less quantity of water possible, then less amount of energy. Then is the process to do it is quite interesting. Then I was very interested to understand a bit more about this, and the fabric at the end is, as I'm saying, with this double way. I I don't know if I say well, or this double side, no? And tendenциally, I think when you are using these curtains, they are being produced in a way that they can be used for inside, but also for outside, or for indoor and outdoor. When you use them for outdoor, especially, I like the idea of those curtains that they have a hand, like a kind of woolly hand, but they are done in a material which is 100% polyester, and but it's done with an attention which is antibacterial, thought, and with I think many solutions that you need to have when you are outdoor. For example, the yarn has an increased UV protection and is water resistant. Then the whole idea of this project was quite interesting. I like the idea to keep the colors quite natural. There's only a green. We did a research of two kinds of blue and one a kind of terracotta or like this. But the other colors, they are all natural, always darker and lighter from the two sides. That is more or less the explanation of the curtain.
Thank you very much, Patricia. And it's always amazing to hear designers when they explain something that for the general audience can be simplified into in just a surface or just a curtain or just a textile, and then you hear the story behind how to design this stuff, which color you can use. And I like very much how you stress the fact that the conversation about colors can last for hours and days and weeks in a studio when you have to pick up one blue instead of one red. But I'd like also to hear from Stine's point of view, what were the challenges to realize the needs and the dreams of Patricia Urquiola Studio for these collections?
I think it's the first time that Kvadrat is developing twin products, and this is a difficult birth. Everybody who have twins know that, because we were aiming for having the same properties in performance wise in the two products, and working with recycled contents is amazing. But we also know beforehand that we need to compromise on some things because it is recycled material and therefore normally not as strong and, for example, in textiles, soft as virgin material. So it has been a long research and taking a lot of different decisions in the process to optimize. So we in the end actually have two twin products where it's only, I think, internal in our R&D department who actually can see the difference, which is of course very nice. And maybe also picking up on the talk about color, we take colors extremely seriously. And color is such a powerful tool. It creates feelings inside ourselves faster than we can think them. And it's not unusual for us to have more than 1,000 colors to choose from for a single collection. So Patricia, when we met in Milan and were picking the colors for Reflect and Relate, we actually had like a mountain in front of us of color swatches. And it's extremely difficult to explain how we are doing it, because of course it's about a lot about your gut feeling, but we are always trying to let the material and the color guide us. Some colors look beautiful on wool, other look very beautiful on polyester. Then we are of course also looking at how the world is looking today and how we believe it will look tomorrow. And in the end, it's a dialogue between, in this case, Patricia and her studio and my team, where we are trying to find the perfect balance for exactly this product, ensuring we have a lot of neutrals, but also having bright colors to create the perfect balance inside the final collection. And working with colors is a bit like working with humans. We need to make all colors feel comfortable in the color range. So maybe the pale yellow need a strong yellow friend to feel comfortable in the scale. So this is a very abstract process on one side, and on the other side it's also very simple, because there is no right and wrong when it comes to color.
Yeah, we just heard another contemporary story of design innovation where science meets creativity and where this is at the disposal of industry, either if it can be a curtain or a cover for an upholstery. We are getting close to the end because it's few minutes to 4 p.m. here in Europe, and we are open the question time to the followers and the viewers that they are listening to this webinar conversation with Patricia Urquiola on Vimeo, on Facebook, or on the Kvadrat platforms. And but before opening to the audience, I want to say that all the questions that we'll receive, they will be answered to the studio and to the company within next day. So if there's no space enough for the questions, don't worry, because you're gonna get all the feedbacks from the company about the collections and the all the options. But what I want to ask at the moment to Stine and to Patricia, starting from Patricia, is about how in this specific moment, like what are the main challenges that a studio like Urquiola are facing during this specific times where designers and architects are asked to shift and change many paradigms of interiors and architecture.
Well, we are you're asking me what about the moment we are living. Then, we know that we've been touched strongly from our all our vulnerability came out. Our kind of possible fragility came out, I think, and in many senses. Obviously, we are in the second moment in the city of Milano, for example. As all the other cities, they are having all those passages, and it's very complex argument. But I think what we have to do in circumstances like this is to understand what can be interesting in this moment. I think is a moment that we have to become more adaptive. I think more amphibian, to grow our amphibian roots. I think is when we speak in between us in the studio, that I am here in this as you see me in this video, and I'm speaking like this to my team for anything we do. And partially we've been the last 2 months working more together, but another time is partially not. Then we have to be, I think, very open and to find a way to become in some way a bit anti-fragile in times like this. Then the only way is to be more adaptive, to understand, for example, we have to use the digital side. Well, perhaps we're still not doing well. We do a lot of wrong things, but why not? Here we are trying to use them, and possibly in short time we will become even more creative in using it. I think, for example, I like it to participate with Maxi, the museum in Rome, that they were asking a few creatives to do a project only for Instagram. Only that was just a project speaking about working at home, and with our poetic, we had a week to tell our point of view, and it was a work organized by the museum. It was Casamondo, and it was a way to tell ourselves through a new media. Then in the studio, me speaking by my computer with another one by my studio, we were working for something that will be. Then it was very interesting, this attitude to be positive and to be amphibian.
I think this concept is absolutely the key for face this difficult moment. I like the fact that Patricia is mentioning to be a sort of like new animals. In the past, when something was not known or undiscovered, they were designing unicorns. Probably this idea of being amphibian means that what is
I feel
unknown.
with a unicorn in this moment, because I feel like you can have many other images, but really in this moment, the amphibian way to be, someone, the amphibian that can get from the air, can get from the water, the energy to life. There are many metaphors we can find, but we have have to be adaptive, very positive in this kind of situation, because it's looking in front of us, and it's long, and we are all strongly interrelate, and in a very delicate way. Like, not only human beings with all the species, is a moment of reflection too, obviously, because in the moment I'm not traveling, and I was traveling strongly the last years. I don't say it was a good or bad thing. It's been interesting, and it's been very strong for me. But at the same time, even the whole team, we were mixing our sense of temporality in another way. Then now we really have to think things from another point of view, and I think that is helping us, even speaking with the clients about many problems, about how to relate to materia, how to use things in another way, how to think, how to dismantle things, how the logistics, all these arguments that they are so important. Now we can speak a bit more with the companies, because everybody is a bit more vulnerable and a bit more open to discuss. I think we have to work from that side, from that point of view. I don't know.
We have two questions very fast from for Stine. From Mappy Millet, we have: where do you get the recycled polyester? Is this your own company that processes and reuses it, or do you support other companies that are doing it?
It's
Stine.
actually a very long supply chain, because what we of course need to ensure is that oh my God, somebody's closing the light. Sorry. We need to make sure that we of course can continue producing the same quality again and again. So therefore, we are not taking the polyester from our own mill for this specific product. What we have ensured is that our fabric always is produced by plastic chips coming from clear bottle, which means that we can ensure a very high level of color, and also ensure that we are not bleaching anything, which we really want to avoid for anything.
Thank you, Stine. We have a simple question for Patricia from Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie is asking: I understood that you were quite reclutant regarding curtains. Can you specify this a little more? Like, why didn't you were not convinced to curtains?
No. I always just try to say that we all have many prejudices, always. Sometimes to work in at the beginning, even I would say a few years ago, for me it was very difficult to approach bidimensionary projects. My idea that was working in 3 dimensions. I was a designer doing things in a certain way. Then for me to work in tapestry, to work in a rag or in fabrics, in doing surfaces for companies that they were asking to me for ceramic, I took a lot of time to begin to work with Mutina, which is another company that they became strong friends, and they work in ceramic, and we were speaking 1 hour ago, and I have them in my heart. Then it's important thing. Or working with marble, that I would say, no, but marble at the end, marble, I like the clean one. Then I'm not interested in all the, and then I understood the impurity of marble is a gift of word, incredible, that we have to take care, and we have to enhance continuously. I was saying curtains for me was, I could do fabrics, but curtains, it was only my limited attitude to see. I think the word of hanging materials, I think in the future, many even fantastic designers and architects working, and I'm using it strongly, is an element. I think the temporality of a curtain is incredible, because it's a material, but you can stretch, you can open and unfold, you can roll it, you can do many things with it, and can change the space in an incredible way. Then it's fundamental to work on it. I think in the future, many spaces, they are going to be determined by curtains, because the curtains are going to become smarter and smarter, and they are going to have even the materials that they are going to be with sensors, and they are going to perform in a strong way. Then we have to work on understanding how to find a kind of balance in between natural elements and what is unnatural, but how to make, obviously, by the moment, one of the little fights is how to, if we use materials like polyester must be recycled. Then I find in with a company like Kvadrat, which is very serious, they say, if we want to do, not only to do a recycled polyester, we want to do an upcycled polyester. We want that is a material that has a new idea of beauty, that performs, has value, has quality. Then it's not only to use recycled materials, is to upcycle them, the first passage. But we have many other passages to do, how to make them do and live with the other ones, which are more traditional, because the laws for fireproof, they still being there. If we don't do them, then the architects, they do a treatment at the end, which is a dramatic chemical thing to put it in a public space. Then we need to go on growing on this. America is in this moment very interesting because they are very open to all the recycled materials. Europe is still being very strong in the fire things. And as an architect, I know the argument from another point of view. Then we have to fight on that. But in short future, I want to have biotechnical materials, obviously, sensors done in many ways on the materials. Materials that they will perform, and at the end of the performing, they will be dismantled in a very good way. That we have an immense, incredible way for the curtains and the use of any kind of upholstery. Upholstery for me is a material which is like another surface, but is done, weaved in a way or unweaved in a way that you can perform over a soft material, and they can get deformed. Then they have temporality in an instant moment. Then you just move one thing and then you change. I have it here in the back. They perform. It's not only a surface, it's a surface that performs, that have time inside. Then I'm a big lover of the argument. Then I was just saying, I had to break even my stupid limitations. I got to begin to understand the material. Right?
Regarding to this provocation and this challenge that Patricia is setting to Kvadrat directly, what are you doing, Stine? What are you studying a specific fabric able to respond to this task, to these duties?
We are running a lot of research projects in our team, which is split between textile designers and textile engineers. And the clever heads on the textile engineers are running a lot of research projects. Of course, many of them are in front of our time, but we are making sure to research in these directions to be able to answer on the requirement when it comes, and also when the technology is ready.
So thank you very much, Stine, and thank you very much, Patricia. We are running over our time. Thanks to all the followers that have been following this conversation on Vimeo, on Facebook, and on Kvadrat platforms. All the questions that have been not answered, we will reply to them during the next days. And I want to say goodbye and thank you to all of you, remembering the image that Patricia just told a few minutes ago. We are amphibia, and amphibia, they are very recognizable in nature because of textures and colors. And that's not just a metaphor, it's very perfect and bespoke if we think about Kvadrat. So thank you very much for this. It's going to be our picture for the weekend.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Good afternoon.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ecco.